Hey, yo, what's going on, good people? It's your boy Schmacky McLitty.
And it's your girl, Miss Kick Rocks, back at it again with another episode of A Difference of Opinion.
Come on, episode 6, right?
How do you keep up with it?
6.
You like Rain Man. I've lost count at this
Doug
point.
tells me before the show starts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my secret.
Well, if you haven't already, make sure you go check out some of those previous episodes. We got some real spicy content. I literally had ready to throw bows at the end of last episode.
Oh, yeah, Moy Kelly.
Had me hot.
Yeah, very much so. But we made it through. You know, I think we repented a little bit, and we're back. You know. Anyway, Brett, before we jump off, I gotta ask, how was your week? How were you since the last time we talked?
I've been great.
Yeah.
I've been great. I mean, a lot of people's been showing me love.
Yeah, come on, as they should.
On the internet, internet.
All over the place.
Squashing beef in the streets.
Come on, man. You know, I mean, as only you can, I'm sure. I think today is a beautiful day out here in Virginia. You know,
yes,
I thank God for this weather.
Degrees.
Come on, man. You know, yesterday, never mind, it was like 40 degrees yesterday.
It was brick yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, never mind that. But it's 77 degrees today.
Yes, I seen somebody with the sundress popping already.
You know, hey,
sundresses.
Hey, it's never too premature for sundresses in my book. You know,
yeah, well, you know, you can wear them gray sweats all year round too. Just know that.
That is an all year round attire. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And I'm just excited about, you know, the festival with something in the water, man.
I know. I'm really excited too. I don't think I'm gonna be going this year because I have already committed to one of my good friends' weddings. Yeah. And that would just be shady, right?
Yeah, I mean, very much so.
Like, you know, girl, your wedding is the same day to me. Girl, like,
you know, but if she's truly your friend, she would understand. I'm just joking. That was definitely a reach.
Don't do that at my wedding.
Right. That was definitely a reach.
Because I'm gonna fight you.
I gotta be honest though. I'm super hyped because I'm born and raised in VA, and one of the things that I always gripe about with artists that come out of VA is nobody comes back and makes VA hot. Like nobody brings the eye to VA with all of this talent, whether it's sports, or musically acting, any type of genre. But the fact that Pharrell is doing this festival. You know, first time music festival. It's big, man.
It's not a little festival.
No.
It's not one day. It's a 3-day festival. I mean, and it's stacked from Migos to SZA, Jaden Smith.
Come on, Anderson .Paak. Yeah, man, that's my boy. Yeah.
Everybody's still trying to figure out who the pop-up church is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I hear it's Kanye, man. I hope it's Kanye. Just because I would love to let this be the first big VA festival.
One thing too is that Kanye was here for Pusha T's his wedding not too long ago.
True.
Him and Kim, so he is familiar with
Good
the area.
music.
Maybe caught a vibe. Maybe he's gonna come back and bless us. That'd be big.
He come back and perform some graduation. Oh my gosh.
Listen, I literally would be so sick. I'm just gonna we're gonna have to go live at the wedding.
Yeah, I'll do that for you. So you
can show me what's going on.
I'll do that for you.
All right.
I'll do that for you.
All right, that makes up for all the argument last week.
Kind of. All right, so let's get into the topics of today. All right, it's a lot that's going on.
Shit to talk about.
Come on, do we or do we don't?
You know what I mean? Shit to talk about. I know everybody been making these little memes and shit of R. Kelly with the Gayle King interview. So we got to talk about that.
So yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about the whole R. Kelly interview, but I'm glad you brought that up about the whole memes. We'll talk about this at a later, but I'm tired of black men who show their emotion publicly, always being laughed at, being mocked, and it's just funny, man. Like that's the reason why black men hold everything in now, because the very moment that we show our frustrations now. In both cases, both cases, both times that black men in the times I think both Tyrese and R. Kelly were about their children. Tyrese was upset about his not being able to see his child. And the instance in which R. Kelly get up and being mad is because he can't see his kids.
Yeah, he's saying that, but them kids is fucking old as hell. And you had 20 years of freedom to get with them kids. Hey. Now you going off and because you're trying to deflect and you're trying to defer the spotlight. And that's why you being emotional. And frankly, the shit is funny. Damn, Charlamagne said he sounded like Dr. Martin Luther King when he was talking about I don't know how to hold God. That shit is funny, bro. Like, he turned into a fucking slave quick.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, man, give I don't know. Black men just are already terrorized through history, and just apart from the whole, what we got to talk about anyway. I'm just saying, black men never be afraid to let out. Find your outlet somewhere where you can just let your frustration out.
To see a black man shed a tear, I think everybody prefers that it not be an ugly cry.
But who helps their cry though?
I don't have a whole time. Look out of here.
No, I'm guaranteed everybody has an ugly cry face. Like nobody says, you know what? Let me make sure that I cry in a very attractive manner.
I'll be trying to when when it's under pressure. Like I really try to cry cute. Like
that's because you're not trying to smear makeup. You know what I mean? You're trying to keep the face beautiful. Men don't care about that. We're not trying to keep. If we've to the point where we've now broken down on camera, composure, attractiveness is completely gone out the window. Like, all I'm saying, and the side note, I'm just saying is let black men live when we try to speak our mind. You know what I mean? Anyway, but yeah, all right.
I can get behind that.
All right.
I'm sorry, but this.
Did you agree with me?
No, not all the way.
All right.
Let's keep it moving before this shit gets weird.
Figment. All right. All right. So let's talk about this Gayle interview with R. Kelly. Obviously, this is the first time that he's broken the silence. And all of these.
It makes me uncomfortable. I don't even know how to sit now.
Your posture's messed up.
Yeah,
I'm relaxed, but it's just this is the first time he's had to break the silence, tell his side of it, how he feels about all the accusations, the claims, the allegations, and as we've alluded to, is a super emotional interview, and I'm not mad at R. Kelly. I will say this. If he's guilty of it, he's guilty of it. I'm always on the side of the truth. You know what I mean? When we talked about anything where there's been allegations or accusations, I'm on the side of the truth. And I want the truth to prevail regardless of whose side it benefits. But I just can't not say that as a man, my heart feels for the guy, man. Like, he is a victim himself of sexual trauma. You know what I mean? And dealing with that, and again, being a black man, not being able to express, I'm traumatized by the fact that as a child I was molested or I was sexually abused, and now you deal with that, and your demons are formed from that. So if he's dabbling with his demons and doing all of the sexual stuff, then yeah, absolutely. But I don't want to negate the fact that this man needs help. And probably has needed help for a long time before this first stuff started coming up.
I think that's true for a lot of predators. I think that a lot of predators like that comes from some place. I don't think that this just sprouts out of nowhere. Somebody's just abnormally like a fucking weirdo and doesn't have any like moral compass. I think that something has happened, and I think that it is unfortunate. But I still don't think that exonerates somebody from their wrongdoings. I think that he should still be held responsible because time and time again, you had these scares where you had gone through litigation, cases have been settled, dropped, what have you, and you keep pressing on, and you're toeing the line. And with R. Kelly, like one thing we don't have at this point, like with some of the other people like Michael Jackson, is with R. Kelly, we actually have legal documents that stated like you married an underage woman very early on. So these are your tendencies.
All right. And I'm with you. You're absolutely right. There is the documented case with Aaliyah and things like that. I just think when you mix in truth, because of, and R. Kelly said this, how stupid would it be of R. Kelly, being as though he's had this checkered past, to have several women enslaved and in chains in his basement, being as though you already identify him, unfortunately, or whatever the case may be, as a sexual offender or predator. How stupid of R. Kelly to be in a situation where he just got women chained up.
I don't know. I mean, is that what they said, that they're specifically chained?
I mean, but they're not allowed to eat until he say so. They're not allowed to sleep until he say so.
But have you never been in like people's households that were like that growing up? I have.
But that's not illegal.
Your parents were like, nah, you don't go in my refrigerator without asking me. Yeah. I know that there's people that are going to watch this episode and be like, absolutely, my kids don't go in my shit without asking.
Yes, ma'am.
That's different households were raised like that, and I think it's a mentality, and it's like a conditioning that people go through.
But how soon does that conditioning kick in? Like
I think it's
how
different
long do you
for
think?
different people, and I think that like the military, you kind of go through that process as well when you go off to boot camp, you know, and everything is so sleep deprivation and it's so structured and you know at our will that it kind of goes through that as well, and that's why you find that some people's experience like in a boot camp is different depending on what their mentality is and how easily it is for them to conform.
Right.
You know, somebody like myself, this is going to be a drill sergeant's business to break me and to give me that attention and to be in my motherfucking ass, making me do extra push-ups, making me do extra laps until I conform to get me to that point. For you, you know, you might go and you might see like, yeah, I'm just going to do what I got to do because it's easier this way. You know what I mean? So I think that that's the thing that we have to keep in mind, that it is a mental thing. And I think that when you listen to the interview with the women, you know, that there's certain things that they're still trying to protect them. And I understand their sense of wanting to protect somebody who they feel like has been a provider and provided them this nice life. And they think that this is actually how we express love. Like this is it. And my parents are trying to harm him and take this from us. So if he goes down, then what does that leave us?
Right. So do you think that's a bit of mind control, or do you think that it's just that they love this man? Like, and I bring that up, and I like the fact that you brought up the military, but in that same case, unless you're drafted, you sign on to be broken into. Like, I mean, that's what you agreed to do. Like, I'm going to pretty much sign my life over for the freedoms and to protect the freedoms of the country that I serve. So you already agreed to that. So unless there was a contract that these ladies signed and said, you know what, I am going to freely give over my will to you. You enter that into that relationship. Like you said, there are households in which there is a street.
Why people have this like time frame or age stamp when they feel that, you know, that mind is malleable and very impressionable. And when you start to throw in other things like not allowing them the freedom to talk and communicate to people, to, you know, express themselves. And I mean that by like using the restroom and doing it in pails and things of that nature, not eating and having to stomp on the floor. Like, it's sad and it's sick. And I think that the women are in a place where they're afraid to lose that, and they're being coached. And that's what you find with a lot of these scenarios, that the predator is kind of like coaching and coaxing you.
But and forgive me for being so brash, but, and I hate to always use you as an example, but you're always right here beside me. Ain't no way I see you dating somebody and somebody saying, no, you can't use that toilet in there. There's a pot in the back for you to go and pee in.
I'm different.
But last episode you stood up for a lot of women that you said were watching this camera and felt exactly the way that you felt. And I would agree that there are women right now that would agree with that statement. Ain't no way a man is going to tell me not to pee in the bathroom. But the fact that you have done it is what?
When you're weak-minded and that you have these mental
how weak do you have to be to pee in a pot?
You understand that when you're impressionable, you are a child. So there's things that you're gonna feel that you're gonna have to do to, you know, that's the same thing that happens when people have that trauma when they're children, and that especially when that person that went too far sexually with them is in their family. Where do you think that the mind frame comes with that? It's a similar mind state.
So it's
not a matter of feeling like what you're gonna do, or as a grown independent woman that provides for myself and doesn't really try to depend on others. It's different from somebody who's broken and you're dangling these mental carrots.
But my thing is, I don't think these women are broken. These are college going students. These are women that obviously are coming from 2-parent homes, because we talk about their mother and their father. Like, I don't think these women are just so weak-minded and just impressionable by the fact that R. Kelly is some superstar from times ago. Like, don't get me wrong, he's still.
When you go to school with a kid or someone and then they commit suicide and you're like, I just didn't know it was all like that. You don't know what people are really going through. You don't really know what their trials and tribulations are. You don't know what other things are going on, why, and I never understood why girls were being anorexic or bulimic. I didn't get it. I'm like, you guys, your parents made more money than my parents. You never wanted for shit, but for some reason it was something deep within themselves. And I think that that's what the big thing is. It's like, I think that it's come to the point now where so much of it's going on and we're expressing it, and there's all of these different cases that it's come to the point where for some reason we're victim shaming and we're putting the onus on the victims, where I in my heart believe that there are scenarios where these things may not have happened. People may have not found out that they were falsely accused of rape or whatever it may be. But I think that when you look at the scale, whatever the statistic is, and I'll go do the research, I think when you look at the false accusations versus what's really happening, I think that it far outweighs it.
I with you, but I feel in the same sense, man. I think with the whole victimizing situation, if a headline read R. Kelly chokes me and beats me during sex, that would sound like, wow, he is a monster. But I can count on, or I'd have to count on more. Well, I don't want to say that because I ain't no hoe. But I'm just saying, in more cases than none, women have certain eroticies that, such as choking. I've never been one that's comfortable with that, but I've had more women ask me to choke them than I prefer to do so. I think that's a dangerous thing, because when I think about that, the first thing that comes to my but the first thing that comes to my mind is
we're not talking about physical abuse with this R. Kelly situation. We're talking about underage women that you're manipulating because you're dangling a carrot saying, hey, I'm gonna make you big. I'm gonna save you.
No, I don't
put
think
you on. And that's the same thing that they said in the Michael Jackson case, that he would promise to develop these kids, and they were enamored by him. They watched him so many times and rehearsed his moves in their living room, to the point in which one day Michael Jackson actually is in their living room and they're taking an interest to him. Right. And they feel like the luckiest person in the world, and that's how these little girls feel. Right. They're naive. They don't get the mental capacity, and the onus really we shouldn't be shaming the victim and saying, oh, what grown woman is going to let them this, that, and the third, because some of them weren't grown women. And I know women who are grown numerically, but mentally are not. Right. So, and I feel like the onus needs to be, we need to look at the parents in these situations. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the parents are the gatekeepers. And I think that that's where we need to really focus our attention on, and not make it so much about the victims. Like, where's your accountability, and why did you allow this to happen? Especially when there were all of these allegations prior. Absolutely. For Michael Jackson and R. Kelly. Absolutely.
And I'm glad you brought it up. That was my next point here is, again, there's parents in the situation. And as he stated, how as a father of a 19-year-old child who's I'm going to take to a R. Kelly concert, who's a 37 plus man, I'm not going to leave my daughter that it's R. Kelly. Like, I'm not going to leave my child unsupervised with a grown man who has made his living off of making sexual songs. Like, that's beyond me. But again, there are similar.
14-year-old. There are a 14-year-old kid. You gonna leave him with R. Kelly? I don't agree with that.
Come on.
But I will say that Azriel's parents, who was the younger of the two that were interviewed, who looks the oldest, by the way, she looked about 41 with that wig and that lipstick. But her parents actually sent her big sister along with her initially, and that's what I've gathered by listening to these interviews, is that it actually is a very detailed and thought out process on how they do it. Like, they'll send and allow you to get, you can bring your mom and everybody can come. They're going to spare no expense. They're going to allow somebody to come with you, and they're going to get comfortable. And like in Michael Jackson's instance, what they did was they would start separating the rooms and saying, hey, instead of your room being next door, is down the hall, or now it's on another floor, or now it's on the other wing of the hotel. And when the parents would ask and inquire as to why, they would say, oh, there were no suites available. This was the nicest room that we could find you. And they just went with it. And at first they were like, oh no, we wouldn't allow our kid to spend the night in Michael's room. He gave us the option, but as time progressed and we became more comfortable, we let our guard down.
Right. Well, I mean, in that sense, and like I said, I hate to keep going back and forth between the R. Kelly and the Michael situation, just because two completely different individuals. I can see you letting your guard down around Michael, being as though you seen him grow up, you seen him be this child star, you see him, his music was not sexual, not all the time, although he had sexual records, but that just wasn't, you didn't see predator or sexual fiend when you saw Mike. We're talking about R. Kelly here. You're not leaving your child with R. Kelly. The same, and the reason why a lot of stuff comes up as devious is Sparkle. If that was your daughter and your niece in this video, why not say something then when you had the opportunity to put this man behind bars for peeing on an underage woman? Period. Doing anything with the underage girl. You had the opportunity, but yet and still you decided my career is more valuable than the innocence and protecting my niece. So when you see situations like that, which again, I'm not bringing the hammer down on Sparkle, but
that goes into it, and I think that goes into like.
But that same energy you got now, you couldn't keep that back then.
Well, that's the thing, that people grow and evolve, and people are they learn things, or they process it differently, and I think that that's why it's so important to not, press a unnecessary statute of limitations on some of these things and make it like a forced thing, because there's so much that goes along with it. Like, I know people that are close to me that have been victims of sexual assault, and it takes a while for them to be able to process it, or to be able to admit that it happened to them, and, just embrace that. A lot of the times it's a thing that they're ashamed of, or they feel guilty, or, there's all of these deep, dark emotions that go along with it. And I think it's hard for people to express that, especially given a time frame. And I personally feel like the concept of statute of limitations is like a very white concept to me. It's just like the same thing with your 40 acres and a mule. Like, a white man had to fucking have come up with that shit. Like, yeah, we're gonna do wrong, but if you don't catch me within this amount of time, then I just get away with this shit scot-free. Because the white man is known to do shit like that. And I just don't think that it's that easy, especially when we're starting to create these systems and platforms where people will feel like I can speak out and I can maybe have the investigation be done. And there is a possibility that I may have some justice on either end of the spectrum.
And you're absolutely correct. I don't think there should ever be a time limit on when you should be able to speak up and to talk about traumas and horrors that you have experienced in your life. But I also believe that, there's some things that I feel like, for instance, a college student is at a bar. Both him and a girl get absolutely drunk and wasted and end up having sex. He ends up leaving, whatever the case may be. Now here it is, he becomes a senator. She feels upset from, he just left me here. I thought we had this bond, but I was nothing but just some bar snatch for him. All of a sudden now he's a senator, he's coming up, and now because I never got my just due, or because, whatever that situation is, I want to bring it up. Me and this guy I was drunk, he took advantage of me, I want to bring it up, and you should have every right, because if you felt like he was assaulting you, or you were abused, but Fairfax? I'm really just giving an example. Literally, unfortunately it has some similarities to other cases, but no, I'm just saying in general, at that 30 years or 20 years ago, like, it's like, how can we handle this, man? Because I don't remember. It's.
Go ahead, say what you was gonna say, and I'll remove that filter, baby.
No.
Be Karen did what?
Yeah, in the
you
same
can't remember
sense.
Who you fucked 5 years ago?
No, it's not who I had sex with, but I'm just saying I can see how details can be gritty, grainy. You don't know, or you can't quite recall. You're drunk.
But what
or you're intoxicated.
What happens if somebody kidnaps your kid?
But okay, and to that point,
but we want justice for that shit, even if it's 20 years later and they find some DNA results. You still are gonna want to pursue that. And I think it's like no different. And I just feel like when we say that is a form of victim shaming, and that is. Even in having this dialogue, we start referring a situation that's very similar to the Justin Fairfax situation, and we're throwing out, well, she's mad just because he left and he didn't, she woke up and he was going out. These are all these things that we just grab, and we're grabbing at that women are spiteful, and some women are. Some men are liars, some men are cheaters, some humans are dirty, but We can't go into the scenario thinking like that, and especially because I haven't heard Justin Fairfax say that unless that is a fact of what happened and there's an account and they both agree, that this occurred, then I feel like that's a valid thing and we should consider it. But I just don't think we should have that mentality.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was literally, giving a scenario. It just so happens none of that was about him. I didn't use anything associated to him.
Well, I'm just kind of giving my point is that when you use a scenario, that was the go-to that like the woman is bitter. That's how this situation occurred.
But there's so many cases, both personal and secondhand that I know, in which like children are used as a pawn of power all the time in divorce situations and co-parenting situations where the child is used as a pawn. Not that you should be caring about the child and what's best for the child. It's more so if I have control of this child, I can control you if you care about your child. And that happens a lot. And I'm not saying that's just for male or female. It's on both cases because humans have a tendency to see an opportunity. And all I'm saying is that we cannot exonerate the fact that there are opportunists out there that will take advantage of a situation. And again, I hate that there are those people out there that make everybody else's claim questionable because again, you'll have those 1 or 2, 3, 4 bad apples that ruin a whole bag. That's just the reality of it. But in the same situation, just as much until the truth has been weighed, you have to leave the scales this way. They have to be balanced because if not, you've already kind of swayed your mind. With Gail,
that is something that you can fucking mark on your calendar. I do agree with that. I think we need to take some time and really allow for justice to be the scale.
Right.
And for us to do the proper investigations and reserve our passing of judgment on these people. And I think that is the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I agree, man, because, like I said, or I've probably told you or Dub, like, especially when it comes, and I know you brought this up because this is the big key, was the whole thing about the age thing, right? So my dad is an older gentleman, older statesman. He's 86, right? My dad is doing it. But all his last 2 wives are substantially younger than him. My dad was 25 with a 3-year-old when my mom was born. Like that's wild. You know what I mean? Now, granted, they didn't get together when she was 17 or anything like that. But the fact that there's such a parity between their ages shows you that. Because he said there's older men that like younger women, there's younger men that like older women, or whatever the case may be. And she asked, well, what kind of man are you? He's like, I'm an older man that likes all women. And he reminded me of my dad just now because my dad just likes all women. He's just that type of guy. Like he doesn't have that case.
There's anything wrong with liking all women,
right?
Like my uncle, his wife is, she's like maybe she's 7 years older than me, and I don't see anything wrong with it. She was a grown woman, you know what I'm saying? He was a grown man. Like I don't see nothing wrong with it when you're grown and you're in that mental standpoint. But I think that when you're talking about, the safety of children and we have to wake up, right. As a whole, as parents, we have to wake up because what I have found by watching these interviews, as well as, watching clips of the abducted in plain sight, that these predators, they use their charm. They dangle a carrot about success and fame and wealth and a better lifestyle. And they warm you up and they make you, start to feel comfortable with the idea of them having this control and interaction with your child, and to the point where these people just let their guard down. At first, they definitely want to protect their kids, and they're making these decisions, but as time progresses, because of what's going on around them, and because there was so much hot smoke blown at them and so much lavish lifestyles and opportunities that they closed a blind eye to it. And the same thing with like the abducted in plain sight, where it wasn't necessarily money that was in it. It was just a guy that did his research and just was like really so charming and became a friend of the family, and then would just your fucking kid's gone, or know.
And I'm with you, and I think the idea is that the predator is the one dangling the carrot. When depending on your social status, if you're a famous or celebrity, it's already perceived that you have that ability. You are R. Kelly. You are whoever. I already know that you got the juice. I already know that my daughter can sing. I already know that my daughter can dance. She's already camera ready. Mr. Kelly, can you, I mean, can you take her under your wing? I can see that happening because I see on Facebook and Instagram every day where people are exploiting their children for free. Just for the sake of you being on social media. I hate seeing little black girls twerking on Instagram videos. But the parent is right there egging the joint on. Girl, get it, Nene. Get it, Nene. No, like, you're exploiting your daughter already on social media and you ain't getting a dime for it. So it's not beyond me to think or assume, or I could not put it past a parent to say,
make it okay.
I'm not saying that it doesn't.
I don't put it past these people either.
Right.
But I still feel like that's some crazy fuck shit.
It is.
And justice needs to be served.
Absolutely.
I don't give a fuck about no statute of limitations. I don't care that Michael Jackson is dead. If he did that shit, if he was really like having these little boys spread their butt cheeks so you can beat off while looking at their anus, like, you need to be exposed and people need to know so that way we can stop this. We can have these conversations. People can feel comfortable with it, and then we let justice do its job.
But what does justice do in this case?
Well, in Michael Jackson's, right. I mean, there's not much that can really be done, but it doesn't mean that the story shouldn't be told.
Right, and I agree, but again, you cannot put a time limit on when people can speak or whatever the case may be, but it's always it's always been told to me, don't talk about nobody unless they can defend themselves. Don't gossip to me.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Right,
if you fucking rape me, I'm gonna talk about you whether you can defend yourself or not, whether you dead or not, when I fucking feel like it, and because I'm the victim, you did that fuck shit.
Right, but now we don't.
You can't defend yourself because you did that fuck shit, and now you're dead.
No,
that's on you.
No, that's not fair because now I don't have to. Fair. No, because you're saying that.
That's not fair. You can literally tell little boys to spread their fucking assholes.
How do we know that this has happened? Because he's saying it, right? They're saying it.
You want us to just shut up because he's dead.
No, I'm not saying that. It's just you don't have.
You don't talk on it because you can't do nothing about it because he's dead
now.
No,
that's not what I'm saying.
Just die knowing that Michael Jackson did you wrong.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Don't say nothing.
If that's the case, again, he's going to get what he gets to and whatever afterlife he believes in. But again,
but you're saying that the dude should
no. What I'm saying is, why wait till now? Why, if you wanted justice, most people who want justice want to see it carried out, boo.
Everybody can speak their own truth when they decide to. That's not up for us to dictate that.
Right, but the thing is, if people are doing it because they want justice, it's because they want to see justice come to pass. By you coming and bring it up now, 10 years after he is dead and gone, or it doesn't.
Why do you feel like that you wanna gag these people so much?
I'm not trying to gag anybody, but if you're you're missing the point. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. Brett, you're missing the point.
And it's traumatic. We can't as people just be like, well, that's what I would do.
Right. But what
I would have said something back in this.
But Brett, what I'm saying is, if the point is for justice, if the point is for justice. Typically, people want to see justice served. If you are not saying,
it's not always about justice.
But okay, so that's what I'm saying. But that's what you're saying. You want to know? No, you're saying you wanted to be just. I said
previously that it's also about the system and the process and how we perceive it as a society and how we embrace it and try to remove and eliminate it.
Right. But the point of going after people now when it happens is so that you can take care of it now, so that they're not out there doing to other people, so that you can hopefully be the only victim because you stopped it from happening to other people.
When it's a victim, and these things come out and the truth is out or whatever it may be, I think that it does something for the victims and the people's lives that it impacted, whether they're alive or not. Like if they found out like this is, like my daughter has been gone for 30 years, but I still want to know what happened. I still want to be able to have some peace of mind. And
Absolutely.
I think it's the same thing for the victims to be like, look, I've gagged this so long. It's been this deep, dark secret. Like I want to feel free and I want to let people know what the truth is. And I want other people that may be going through something similar to, see some hope in it or whatever it may be. And I just don't think that it's fair to be like, yeah, you shouldn't say anything because he's dead. And
yeah, but do you have to go on? No, but my thing is, do you go onto a national? If you're looking for closure, you go and speak.
No, you don't dictate that. That's your fucking opinion.
All right, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But it's just, again, all right. You're absolutely right. I cannot dictate when a victim can speak. However, again, if your purpose is to get certain things, you would think certain things happen. Like if I'm trying to apologize to you, for wronging you before I go get sent off to jail, I don't say, hey, I want to apologize because I hope I get a shorter sentence. That's not how it works. That's not the process. If I'm really trying to apologize, it's because I offended you. Therefore, I'm sorry that I offended you. Regardless of what my consequence is, I'm sorry for offending you, and I hope you can forgive me. If your purpose is to get justice, if your purpose is to get closure or things like that, there's certain things that I believe have to happen for that to happen. There's certain goals that you're trying to meet in order for that justice, that closure to happen. And in this case, we're now going to pass all of this judgment on Mike based off of their testimony, what they are telling us, without being able to say, Mike, what happened? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is,
gonna watch it?
No, I will. I definitely will. But I'm just saying, for the sake of there being balance and just.
Then you know what I'm saying. I think, like, I like Michael Jackson. Like, I wanted to maybe find some shit and be like, oh, that's bullshit. I wanted to be like, oh, that's sussy Jussie Smollett. They Jussie Smollett. You know what I'm saying? That's how they pulling it.
But you were gung ho for Jussie.
I wanted to be able to do that because I like Michael Jackson, and it just means a lot to me in terms of how it impacted my whole life. Mm-hmm. So I wanted it to not be true, and I'll be able to see something and be like, oh, we can cast some doubt about that. Right. But when you watch it, it's just kind of like, damn. And it is what it is, and we just have to allow it to be what it is, and allow people to tell their story, and not to think about what we would have done in the situation. We weren't in the situation.
Right.
We weren't, and it's the same thing. We do things all in our own process, just the same way when we all learn how to walk, talk, read, write, whatever. We do it all on our own. Our own time.
But this is the same very reason why you are supposed to have a fair and speedy trial. If it was all about whatever that person said, there would be no need for a trial. You would go straight to jail for however much a judge can sentence you to based off of what they say. But that's not the case. That's not how law. That's not how law works.
Seem like you feel like
no, all I'm asking for is justice. No, I'm not saying that you should not just say nothing. I'm just saying I wish you would have spoke up so that we could see justice come to realization. But we can see Mike be in jail.
I don't disagree with you. That would have been nice, but that's not the reality. We can't be shady to these people and feel a type of way because they did it. Because right. I think that maybe we've all been victims in some way, shape, or form. I think that maybe sometimes in your life you've been a victim.
I have.
And you have to tell your truth your way, and you have to process it your way, and no different than me.
Right, absolutely.
And I just think that's where we gotta get with it.
Yeah, I agree. I just also know that if someone is saying this about me, I want to be able to speak up for myself. That's just me if I'm on the opposite end. And that's really all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they have no right or should not speak about it, but dang, man, I wish I would be able to hear both sides of the story, because we all know there's two sides of the story.
Michael
and if
Jackson was never going to tell you his side of the story.
Why?
Because he just wasn't. He settled out of court every time. If he wanted to talk about it, trust me, he would have fucking did it.
Right.
Instead, his wrongdoings fucking killed him. He was miserable until the day he died, and he didn't have no friends. Like, that's what's sad about it.
But I think that goes further back to him being traumatized as a kid
and
to grow up
as an adult as well.
Right, but my thing is, if my goal is to see you come to justice again, why would I, as a parent, settle out of court? Why would any amount of money matter to me that would buy my silence? I know you can't, because that's what makes it.
You're talking about two sides of the story,
right?
And
yeah.
I'm telling you that Michael was never going to give you his side of the story.
Right, but what I'm also
these people were going to concede, because that's the world that we live in. And again, you're putting your virtues and your morals, and we don't know like how life was for these people. We don't know, what their lives were, if they were able to keep the lights on. We just don't know, and it is what the fuck it is. It's just what it is.
Right, but that's an opportunist. That's an opportunist. That's exactly what we're talking about. Who cares?
Or not, it doesn't negate the fact that he
yes, it does.
He would take
if you want justice, you'll go get it, no matter.
He would introduce your son to masturbation, and he would want to do so while watching his rectum. He would want, to perform oral and things of that nature, and none of that negates the fact that that's the type of shit that he was doing.
No, it doesn't. And if somebody was to do that to my child, I would want them buried alive. There is no amount of money that could buy me to say you did this to my son.
And that's your virtue.
Yeah, but I would think that's as a parent.
Other victims can't feel differently.
So if you're taking that stance, then how can you not take the same stance when it comes to R. Kelly and them offering their children up to R. Kelly?
I already said that. I don't agree with it, and I think that we can run the tape back about 15 to 20 minutes, and I said that we need to, as parents, have a sense of responsibility, because mentally these kids cannot be held responsible for their immature minds and their desires and the shit that they have been programmed within from their parents and society and what have you. So that's what I said. We need to look at the parents, and that predators look much different now. And so as parents, we need to look different, and that's what I said.
Yeah, I think the parents of the children need to be also put on trial. I mean, if we let's get everybody involved. Let's involve every parent that's involved in these cases in which it could be speculated, alleged that you offered your child up for some form of compensation.
I don't disagree with that.
Let's do it, people.
We need to shut the fuck up and let justice do its job.
Right.
We keep going back and forth, but that's really what it is.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Let's get the parents involved. Let's put them on trial, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We talked a lot today, man. We got a lot of good stuff out there. You didn't even yell at me today. That's good, man.
I'm trying to give you a pass from last week.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it. And it's been a joy going these 6 episodes.
Yes, and if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that notifications. You never know when we're going to drop a new episode. They come every week, but you just never know when. So don't get left in the dust.
Never know. Like and subscribe now. YouTube, everything. I'm hyped, man. I'm hyped. This is dope. You look good.
Thank
you. You look nice, man. You tried to jock my style today. Again,
I know. It's really weird how we're always
I know. We never plan this, though.
It's weird.
It's all for y'all. It's all for y'all. It just comes together.
We on the same wavelength.
Come on.
Fucking different.
Yeah, different. And this is a difference of opinion. Hey.